this one's common with avoidant. Like, when they get close together, they're getting more intimate, they're spending the night, and then they get up and leave in the middle of the night because, nope, that's if I wake up in the morning, this is going to be a problem.
If we're putting all our eggs more in that independent side, then that emotional closeness end of the spectrum, well, that starts to feel kind of threatening.
They go on the offensive and start pushing back and saying, you just don't care about my friends or me or my likings, my hobbies.
Right. If you really cared about me, you will let me do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
In session, and when we talk about these behaviors and things of that nature, it's interesting because they will say, I hate that I do this. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Lighter Side of Heavy Things, a podcast with two therapists, myself, Chris Clark, along with Dwayne Horton here at Pinnacle Counseling Center, where we take time out of our weeks to kind of discuss those lighter sides of the heavier things that we tend to deal with our clients and kind of with ourselves as we practice helping others in this world. Now, we're continuing on with the attachment styles and those sorts of things that we've been talking about for a moment, and kind of as we left off with last time, as we talked about the anxious avoidant trap, we wanted to take time today to really discuss how do we see these attachment styles kind of beginning and starting, and what does that then lead to in the behaviors we then see as adults.
Right, and kind of like last time what we talked about, we brought in Kiki and Mikey.
Yes.
Right? And
Good old
I thought
Kiki
that was
and
such
Mikey.
a funny conversation that we had that I was like, yeah, let's try that again. So we kind of wrote stories. And we kind of built these out. Now, this story was one that I kind of wrote, and it's kind of coming from the avoidant side of things, of how things came to be,
right,
and what they may look like in the present in a relationship. And next time you're going to do yours that you did through the anxious style, right?
Yeah. We had thought about combining these two together, but in the end we decided that it wouldn't do them justice, right? We had to give them each kind of their own time to be able to, I guess, shine. Right. So so we'll start with the avoidant, right? But let's kind of maybe review for everyone what makes an avoidant attachment style.
Right. So kind of like the characteristics of avoidant, one of the key, most important ones is that they love their independence, right? They feel like they need to be independent. Closeness is not safe. That's where they create those deactivating strategies. So they're very self-sufficient, They take pride in not needing others and those sort of things.
And with that, right, that idea of the self-reliance being so important, what does that do? Is because if we have those two scales of independence and emotional closeness or vulnerability, if we're putting all our eggs more in that independent side, then that emotional closeness end of the spectrum, well, that starts to feel kind of threatening, right? Any sort of closeness feels like a loss of autonomy, or we're losing control.
Right. And so, I mean, yeah, that's why relationships are both attractive, because they need the closeness, they crave it, but then they push away because that emotional distance is safer.
How do I deal with this?
How do I deal with it? I don't want to have deep conversations with you. I don't need emotional closeness. Like, why do things have to feel heavy? Can't they just be?
Yeah, and that's why we have that downplaying, right? That happens for them very often.
Right, and that's why there's those deactivating strategies, right? This is kind of at the heart of that, the emotional, the anxious avoidant trap, right? As the emotions became more and more severe, they're like, oh, time to deactivate and run away. And the anxious person's like, hey,
yeah, where are you going?
I need this.
And I think what's important to recognize is that those deactivating strategies are very unconscious, right? They're not consciously thinking, oh, A to B to C.
Exactly.
They're, boom, gone.
No, it's very instinctual, right? And they do it through certain patterns. Like, they find the partner's flaws. They, what's that word? Where they kind of like make their past partners, like, put them up on a pedestal.
Yes.
Right?
Idealizing.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. And you know what I think is very interesting is that when we work with these individuals, people with avoidant attachment styles, and we sit down with them, right? in session and we talk about these behaviors and things of that nature, it's interesting because they will say, I hate that I do this. Right? I don't get why I do it. Just happens, and then I'm sitting there thinking, what did I do? Why is this happening, right? And they beat themselves up. Now, are they going to do that with their partner? No.
No. But they also, even with us, they're like, you know what? I could see that the conversation was getting intense. So I walked away. I didn't want to say anything to hurt people's feelings. Like, on the outside, it looks very reasonable, right? They're like, oh, you're just trying to not do anything. You're taking a walk. You're taking a break. But the problem is you're also avoiding the emotional intimacy that a relationship needs a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can go varying levels that would be perfect for a couple, but it needs it.
Yes.
If a relationship's going to survive, there needs to be intimacy emotionally. There needs to be some level of closeness, right?
Yep. Can't just withdraw as soon as first sign of conflict.
Right. And being vague about making commitments is very, very, very because that's a trap, right?
Yes.
I mean, I saw that several times this week. It's like, I don't want to be trapped. I feel smothered. I feel, people ask, hey, can we get together? Like, oh, why?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Where's this going?
I've had in the past many, this one's common with avoiding, when they get close together, they're getting more intimate, they're spending the night, and then they get up and leave in the middle of the night because, nope, that's, if I wake up in the morning, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. If I'm gone by 1 a.m., then I didn't stay the night.
Yes.
This is not as serious as you think it might be.
Yes. And that's exactly it. It can't be serious, if hey, and it'll be in their story today, you talk about the future. Future talk is a scary one for them, right? So but they also convince themselves they don't need anybody, right?
Right, but and that leads to those troubles with mixed signals that we see, right? Because they'll say, well, I don't need anyone, but then in the same breath, well, I kind of do.
Yes. So
I don't want to be alone.
They're fun, they're spontaneous, they're engaging, and then but they can flip, right? You're like, hey, we need to talk.
Not so fun or spontaneous anymore.
Happy feeling gone.
Yeah. Right. Right, but that's that, any emotional demand, needy, demanding, it's too much.
And if this spills over to workplace, they're great at hardworking individuals, right? You give them a task, they're going to get crap done.
Yep.
Now you say, hey, this project's huge, you need 3 people on this thing. Suddenly it's like, nope, I'm out. Goodbye. This company sucks.
Yeah.
I hate this company.
Do you have a project for me that I can just do?
Right. They don't want to trust anybody. They don't rely on people.
Can I pick the other 2 people that will be on there, and they're going to pick, the other
avoidance.
Yeah.
Or the anxious people. Yes, either one. You do your project.
And because of that, right, they're very dismissive of others. That and that, that causes troubles in relationships for them, doesn't it?
Yes, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Just calm down. You always do this.
Yeah. I'm just going with the friends. Come on. Yeah. What's wrong with me being with my friends? Shouldn't I have friends? No, this isn't about having friends. It's about I want to have time with you.
Yep.
But that dismissiveness is perfect for creating emotional distance because it changes the subject, right? Instead of talking about what was really being talked about, they go on the offensive and start pushing back and saying, you just don't care about my friends or me or my likings, my hobbies.
Right. If you really cared about me, you will let me do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I do care about you. It's not that I don't care about you, but, and so they're main, but again, we talked about this earlier, they love the anxious attachment style.
Right. Because it's, as we mentioned, it's kind of that glue that they feel like they need, right? Because in a lot of the studies that they've done with these attachment styles, rarely, if ever, do you ever see 2 avoidants being together in any sort of meaningful long-term relationship it just doesn't happen.
Right.
In that type of a romantic setting, because both of them, again, boop, out, bye.
Right. Well, and like, last week you talked about Mikey and Kiki, right? And, when Mikey was gone away, run away, in that story, Kiki started pursuing him and then apologizing. And that pursuit is like, okay, see, I'm okay, right?
Yes.
It's a way to dismiss it.
Because they want to be wanted, but are they going to tell others that that's what they want or need? No.
Right. And so last week, Mikey was the avoidant one, right?
Right.
So today, we're making our story about Kiki being the avoidant one.
Yes.
And what we're going to also do is introduce, as you said at the beginning, the idea of how her backstory, her life, her previous experiences built out this, potentially help contribute, is maybe a better way to put it,
yes,
to this type of attachment style, why she became her.
Right. And I think it's important to point out as well with this, a lot of these, we wanted to make these as much as, I guess you could say, relatable, but also not perhaps leading into big traumas, potentially.
Correct.
Because, big trauma does influence, but I find that very often, for at least the majority of my clients I work with, it's more of that steady day-to-day stuff that really kind of encapsulates the attachments.
Exactly. And we also, again, like last time, this has nothing to do with our clients.
No.
This is all stuff made up.
Yeah.
And
the more we've learned about and came aware, it's like, oh, I can write something out because I've seen this so many times.
Yes. Because we see these things, we understand the principles, we understand what we're looking at. Now we want to give it back for people just to kind of share with themselves. And if it fits, it fits. It may not fit perfectly. So, with Kiki, when she was about 7 years old, she was sitting at the kitchen table, quietly crying after a rough day at school. Her mom was cleaning, moving quickly, trying to get things done, make the house ready, right?
Busy mom.
And the house is always structured because efficiency means that the things go well. And there are no emotions.
Yeah, very clean.
Very clean.
Everything has its place.
But Kiki, Kiki was trying to express to mom in this moment after school, saying, hey, mom, something's wrong. And mom just quickly says, no, Kiki, you're fine. Well, Kiki's like, wait a second. I don't feel fine. I'm not fine. Mom says, well, nothing actually happened. You're just really tired. If you sleep on it, it'll get better, right? And Kiki says, well, they didn't play with me today. And mom says, well, that's not a big deal, right?
Yeah. Why are you getting upset over that? Yeah, get over it, right?
And then we move to another scene when Kiki, to kind of keep building on this whole, neural network pathway, she's now 9-ish, right? And talking to dad on the couch. Dad's watching TV, the great distractor, right? Dad's just trying to relax after a busy day, had a lot of things happening on his mind. But she's thinking, well, maybe I could try talking about this again, emotions.
Talk about emotions again. Let's try the other parent.
Let's try the other parent, let's take a risk, And, Kiki might say, hey, Dad, can I tell you something? Dad, not changing his focus from the TV, says, hey, yeah, what's up, kiddo? Right? and
can't miss what's happening.
Can't miss it. So he's like 25% actually present with Kiki or something, right? And
right.
Kiki, says, oh, I got into trouble today, and it's really unfair. And Dad's like, what did you do? Maybe a little bit more attentive.
Right.
Well, nothing. And that's like the key word for Dad to say, oh, dismiss it, right?
Yeah. Nothing? Okay.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Yeah. He's like, nothing, that's why. And then he interrupts and says, well, then it doesn't matter. Move on. What does it... Okay, right?
Yeah. Dad's right back zoned into the whatever he's watching full time.
Right. Let's fast forward a few years. And, parents are in the kitchen. She can hear them laughing, and feeling that genuineness that happens. And she's like, oh, this feels good and awkward at the same time because this isn't normal in our home. There's always something happening, right? She wants to join this and hopes to catch some of those good feelings, but also to have a conversation about what's happening in her life, So she walks into the kitchen and says, hey, can I talk to you guys? And suddenly they're like, mom and dad shut down what they're doing because they were in their own groove and said, well, not right now, Kiki, and dad's saying, well, we've had a long day. Kiki says, well, it'll only take a second. Mom now gets firm, says, not now, Kiki. And again, dismissed.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few more years. Now maybe high school-ish, right? She's wanting to have a conversation. She's feeling overwhelmed because now school's happening. Now she's got to deal with boy issues. She's got to deal with all the social issues.
Oh, all those fun teenage pubescent issues in life.
So glad I'm not there. She's got all those worries and cares. Like, are my clothes right? Do I look good? Is my hair pretty enough, right? And so she's wanting now to engage again and talk to people, about this project, getting help about it with her dad or something. And he says, hey, Dad, I got this project, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And Dad says, well, didn't they explain it in class? Right? And he said, well, yeah, but I'm still confused. You got to get the teenage sarcasm in there, right?
Yeah, right.
Maybe mom will pipe in and say, well, you'll figure it out. You always do. Kind of re-emphasizing that it's important to be independent, right?
Right.
Don't ask questions. Kiki's like, gearing up, trying to bring up all the courage that she has and says, well, can't you just help me for a second? And then, Dad's, again, probably watching TV or playing on his phone, right? It's football season. Yeah.
Well, March Madness right now. Right?
March Madness. And see, this is why I don't do sports. I forget March Madness is happening. And says, well, we're in the middle of something right now. And again, dismissing her, making her not feel valued, right?
Right. And what I think would be interesting with a lot of that is that I'm sure by this point for Kiki, there's a lot more hesitancy than when she was younger, right? And trying to bring these things up with mom or dad.
Which also would explain why how desperate it must be if she's bringing it up.
Yeah. Right, because it's like when she's little, it's more and more and more, but the more that we get dismissed or it's not taken seriously, then it's, well, I guess we'll wait until it piles up more and more and more, and then I'll bring it up. Oh, no, okay, I guess we got to keep raising the bar.
Yeah, so she becomes more acclimated to the pain, right? So when she does finally reach out, it's going to be a desperate situation, right? Fast forward a few, maybe years more, and another stressful day. Mom is quiet. She's quiet, sitting in the car. And then, she accidentally brings up emotions again.
Yeah, because by this time it's more accidental.
It's more accidental, and it tells you how heavy this is weighing on her, right? Kiki talking about, say, hey, I've just been thinking lately, I've been really stressed, right? And that's how it goes. It's very casual. It's testing the water.
Right.
It slipped out. There was a pause, let it out, and mom's like, everyone's stressed. That's just life. You're almost an adult now, right? Yeah. And she's like, well, I know, but it feels like, and then again, cut it off. Don't make it a big thing, right? Rub dirt in it. Yeah. Let it go, right? That old mentality. Now it's time to pack up and, leave for college.
Yes.
Right?
The adulting.
The adulting. Time to be an adult. But, honestly, she's been independent. She's succeeded. She's leaving to college, right? Those strengths that came in. Emotionally, though, she's still immature.
Yeah.
Emotionally immature, maybe.
Doesn't know how to deal with them.
Doesn't know how to deal with them. Well, now what dad is like, as a dad, I could imagine this scene and being like, I'm sad to see my kid leave. I don't want to see my kid leave. Like, the thought of that makes me sad. Because I love having my children around. My kids are amazing. She's packed up her room. Everything's nice and tidy. Dad's standing in the doorway, but he's also avoidant. 18, 19 years of this together.
Yeah.
but he's now trying to like, how do I say his emotions, right? In this very awkward interaction. And Dad's finally settles with, you ready?
Yeah.
Kiki's like, yeah. Dad's checking in with her nervous system. Are you okay? You nervous at all? You prepared? And she's like, not really. Because she can't share anything at this point, right?
Right. And likely as well for that, in that moment, right? Dad's doing his best to offer some sort of reassurance, but it's not going to be too much, right? Because he's probably thinking, well, I don't want her to break down, and I don't want to break down, in this big moment.
Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, like a sigh of relief, she's saying she's fine. Oh, good. I don't have to talk about emotions, right?
Right. Oh, maybe she's not going to ask for that hug on the way out.
Yeah. And he says, well, you'll be fine. I have full confidence in you. You'll handle things fine, right? Again, this is an encouraging parent, right? Totally okay. His words are not wrong. They're not bad at all. And kids need to know that their parents have confidence in them to succeed. But what she was craving was that closeness. Now, so she's learned emotions are not good, right? Don't bring them up. Closeness is inconsistent, so can't rely on it. And, needing help is never... So asking for help is... You can't trust people to show up when you need help, right? Basically is what it comes down to.
So I need to figure it out myself, right?
Yes.
Just like with the school assignment. I didn't know, but the people that should have helped me, they're saying, no, you got it. So I guess I'm going to have to figure that out. Right.
So the virtues of being independent, stuff as a society we like, are definitely strong. That is her toolkit. The problem is that's not always going to work for every situation, especially in a relationship.
Yeah, when you get two people.
When you do need to rely on people. An attachment, people who are married and connected, statistically and probability-wise, are likely to have a happier life, a healthier life, a more fulfilled life. And experience more joy because we are meant to have closeness with people.
Right.
So here's my story. It's about a dinner experience. Kiki now is dating Mikey. She found Mikey.
But now she's the avoidant.
She's a different Kiki and Mikey. There are two couples.
That's right. In our universe.
Now, I wrote this though, since you did yours from the avoidant standpoint. Anxious avoidant standpoint last time. I wrote this. Kiki is the avoidant. Mikey is now secure. Okay. So people can see kind of that it can work out and what it might look out, and even maybe some of the internal dialogue that may come up.
Yeah, how they play off of one another.
How they play off of one another, right? So they're at dinner and Kiki sets down her fork gently, like she was placing it somewhere it might not be found again. Across from her, Mikey was still eating, relaxed, unaware that something invisible had just shifted in the room. The dinner had been easy up until now, quiet, comfortable, familiar. The kind of comfort Kiki liked, contained, manageable, safe. Right? This is good, she thought. This is exactly the level of closeness we should maintain forever.
Yeah.
Mikey glanced up, smiling a little. So, he said casually, I've been thinking about something. Now, Kiki immediately felt it. Not the words, the tone. There was something in it. Something. Open-ended. Dangerous. Nope.
Alarm bells are going off.
Nope, I don't like that tone.
Yep.
That's this is going somewhere tone.
She scanned for the threats now showing up, right? Disengage. Just
run away. She nodded anyway. Yeah? She said to him. He leaned back slightly in the car like this was going to be no big deal. He says, where do you see us in 5 years? The question landed softly, but in Kiki's mind, it didn't stay soft.
Man, that was like a nuclear bomb going off in her mind.
It expanded. 5 years? 5 years meant planning. Planning meant expectations. Expectations means structure. And structure had a way of turning into something else, something tighter, something harder to step out of, right? 5 years. Why are we skipping ahead? What happened to today? Like today? Kiki gave a small laugh, the kind people use when they're buying time. 5 years, she said. We barely know what we're doing this weekend. Yes, keep it light. Stay in the present. Present is safe. Mikey smiled. Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to plan everything. I was just curious. Curious? She thought.
Yeah.
That word's not helping me. Curious turns into follow-up questions. Follow-up questions turned into conversations. Conversations again turn into expectations. Again, she's starting to feel tight, trapped, right?
Is there a threat? Still a threat? Disengage, disengage.
He's not picking up on these clues, is he?
No.
Mikey's a little clueless. Kiki picked up her fork again, even though she wasn't hungry anymore. I just don't really think about things like that, she said to him, keeping her voice light. I do think about them, she's thinking internally.
Yeah.
I just don't want to say them out loud where they may become real. Mikey nodded slowly. Still calm. Well, that's fair.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Again, not catching it. There was a pause. Not a bad one, just longer than usual, and Kiki felt it. It's taking up too much space. The space between them became something suddenly she needed to manage. Why is this pause so long? Did I make it weird? It's weird now. This is officially weird, she's thinking. And then she says, I mean, she added, why do we need to plan everything out? He says, and inside she's saying, yes, redirect. Make it about logic, right? Logic is safe. Change the topic.
Yeah.
Logic doesn't require feelings.
Yeah, stay away from them feelings.
Those feelings are terrible. Mikey tilted his head slightly. We don't. I just like thinking about the future sometimes. There it was again. The future. Kiki felt something tighten in her chest. Not panic, just quiet, steady pressure. Like something was getting closer than it should. This is how it starts. First it's future, then it's plans. And then suddenly I have a drawer here full of his stuff.
The toothbrush.
The toothbrush.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that better be a toothbrush.
Yeah.
She pushed back her chair back slightly. I think I just need some air, she said, already standing. Strategic exit, clean, no escalation.
She punched that ticket. She's out.
Yeah, exactly, right? And Mikey looked up, a little surprised, but not alarmed. Okay, he said gently. Yeah, go ahead. Kiki nodded, grabbed her phone, and walked out before the conversation could follow her. Now, outside, the air felt cooler, wider, better. She exhaled long and slow, like she had just stepped out of something that she hadn't agreed to be in. There we go. Space, breathing room, no questions, no future. Her phone buzzed almost immediately. Hey, Mike, and it's Mikey. Mikey saying, hey, I didn't mean to pressure you. Now, Kiki staring at the screen. Pressure? She frowned slightly. That wasn't pressure, but it also wasn't not pressure.
Yeah. How dare you question my independence?
Yeah. Her thumbs hovered over the keyboard. Texting was much easier. She liked this. Cleaner. No tone to manage, no eyes watching her, just words.
Yeah. Logic.
She can distance herself from those emotions. This feels safe. This is better. I can control this. Kiki responds, I just didn't like where the conversation was going. She hit send quickly before she could rethink it. Clear, direct, emotionally contained, and perfect. For a moment, there was nothing. Then, Mikey responds, got it. Thanks for telling me. She blinked. That's it? No follow-up questions? No, but why?
Yeah. She's wanting the chase.
Yes, she's expecting the chase. No, hey, let's talk about this from him. Just then a second message came through from Mikey saying, we don't have to figure anything out right now. I just like thinking about the future with you. Again, calm from him. Kiki read it once again, then again. There was something annoyingly calm about this one. No pressure from him, no urgency. No attempt to close the distance she had just created, which somehow made her pause. Why is he being so reasonable? This is not helping my argument. She leaned back against the wall, phone still in her hand. Okay, but also, hey, she now finds an angle. Her mind shifted almost automatically. He has been bringing things up like this more lately. It was subtle, but it was there. Questions, check-ins, future talk. Her brain started organizing it, categorizing it, finding the threat, right? A reason to run. Yeah, this is a pattern, she starts thinking. This is becoming a thing. He's getting a little too intense. And then she settled in. Solid, reasonable, and safe again. I need to protect myself. And then she's realizing exactly, this isn't about me overreacting. This is him. He's escalating this. He's creating a threat to me. She nodded slightly to herself like a quiet agreement she had just reached. Inside her phone buzzed again. And it's Mikey. Hey, I'm here whenever you want to come back in. Again, no pressure.
He's just there.
He's just there. Kiki looking at this message for a long moment, then back at the door. He's not chasing me. He's not pulling away either. He's just there. Steady. Constant. She didn't move right away, but she didn't walk away either. This is fine. This is good distance. This is good. She's, for now, the distance she had created felt just right. Not too far, not too close. Exactly where she could breathe. And that's the end of my story.
Yeah,
right?
It's pretty good.
This is fun.
Yeah, it is. And you know what I think's so interesting about the story and where she's going with it all? At the very beginning, you mentioned that for her, dinner's going well, and she's like, I want it to be this way forever, right? And then all of a sudden, 5 years, no, and it's like, but wait, weren't you just thinking like, I want to be feeling this way forever? Forever in my mind seems a lot longer than 5 years.
Yes.
But it's as soon as that like idea of commitment or you know, something of that where there's more emotional connectedness, it's like, ooh, nope.
Like this where we can just eat comfortably, talk, no strings attached, nothing. Yep. I can run anytime I want.
That's right.
And the real threat was the fact that she picked up on was, I guess she's probably heard that tone with other guys before, right? If I should have built that into this. But she heard the tone, she recognized the tone, she picked up on a threat that really wasn't a threat.
Right.
But what was interesting, this is why secure attachments can help people become more secure. What I intentionally building into this was the idea that he respected her. It was fine. He understood it was her needs to take care of herself. Stepping outside is fine.
Yeah,
it wasn't about him.
No.
It was all about her needs in that moment.
Right.
And he could respect that.
And that's why, you know, she felt very confused because, again, if she's in a relationship with someone who's anxious, that person, as soon as she starts standing up, they start standing up. And as soon as she starts walking away, they're after her, right? They wouldn't let her stand outside all by herself. They'd be right there with her. Oh, hey, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have brought that. You know, they'd be doing something of that nature.
Right.
The avoidant, on the other hand, she stands up to leave. They'd probably be like, well, you know, it's probably good for me to leave too. You got your own ride home. I got mine. Bye.
Right. Right. So he wasn't caught in that trap of pursuing. He was caught in saying, hey, I trust you. Take care of your needs.
Yeah.
Right? And what was interesting was that was scary for her. She almost preferred him to chase because that's what she knew.
Yes.
Or she preferred him to run. Again, that's what she knew. Her past. Parents dismissed, pushed away, right?
Right. And I think a lot of that uncomfortableness is because what the secure attachment ends up creating for her, right, in this sense, so Mikey ends up in a very subtle way, it's like almost putting the ball all the way in her court. It's up to you now to decide, right? And now she's realizing I have to make a decision. Ooh,
Yes.
This is all on me now.
Well, but it was also interesting but it wasn't just all on her, but she could say, wait, he's respecting my distance. This feels good. This is new territory for me.
Yes.
But it's kind of like Mikey's broaching a subject. I bet in my mind, Mikey has probably thought about this a lot, like the future. He likes to think about it. With you, he says, right? But it's like someone, testing the pool water, right?
Yeah.
Is this cold? Am I going to survive this? And
Am I
he's
gonna
dipping that toe in there, right?
Yeah.
And saying, can I survive this temperature? Knowing that if people can acclimate to that a little bit. And he's respecting, hey, this is obviously upsetting to her. I don't know why, and I can respect not needing to know why.
Yeah.
I don't need to have a deep emotional connection and a kumbaya moment with her.
Right.
I can just we can be okay right here.
And a lot of that probably comes due to his feelings of trust, right?
Right.
That I trust her, that if she's given the time and stuff needed, she respects me enough that she'll likely let me know.
Right.
And so because I have that trust, that I believe you're going to do the right thing by me, not deciding you're going to go along with it or whatever it might be, but just, hey, you'll come back and we can talk about it. You just need your space and time. I trust you. That creates this new experience for Kiki.
It gives her space, and he's respecting it. He didn't move further away. He didn't move closer to her. He stayed put and just said, I'm here.
Right.
And he reminded her, I'm here. Even though it was started to take as a threat, her mind naturally kicked in and says, wait a second. This is different. And that's how you repeat the scenario time and time and time again. She won't necessarily always feel like she has to push him away.
Right.
There's going to be moments where it'll come up big.
Yeah.
But there also may be moments where she's like, I'm fine. I can talk about little things. Us? Well, maybe we have a little apartment together. And that might be the extent of the next conversation, right?
And for the secure attached person, they're going to be more than likely, oh, okay.
That's great. And they will take that.
When are you thinking about that? And then for her, that's probably going to be like, oh, wait. But they, again, recognize that, well, she just needs some time and it'll be okay. Just because maybe she needs her space to walk out of the room for a moment, it doesn't mean that there's a problem. She's just needing to regulate.
Right.
Because it's not about me.
Right. And to me, these fun stories we're creating, this is what we hope that they can land and resonate with people.
Right.
Right? Again, and also to give hope. Right? If avoidance is you, that's not a bad deal. Right?
No.
There's so much good. If secure is you, you're not perfect. Don't start thinking you're godlike.
Right. Right, because we've already talked about some of the flaws that the secure attached person runs into, but I do think that where you're going, it's so important to understand what your attachment style is and what does that mean for you in relationships, but also recognizing what do I do when my attachment is activated. For the avoidant, there's that disengage out. Right.
And it doesn't even have to be, something small. Hey, where do you see us in 5 years? To many people, that's such a small, simple thing. It's a simple question.
Right.
But for an attachment system like her, like Kiki's in this case, nope.
Yeah.
That's like a death threat. Right? And that's okay.
Yep.
But he respected her attachment. And by respecting it, he reached her differently than other people can. And that happens in real life. We see this with our clients. And that's why we understand and spend time understanding attachment. What do people need? What's the longing? How do they connect? And also, how did you get here? Your story is important.
Right. And I think that's why we thought it was so important to be able to share what are likely things that people with a potential attachment style likely experienced growing up. Because these things just don't come out of nowhere, right? It's not like you're, boop, out of the womb, okay, this is your attachment style, run with it.
Right. And genetics, family history, there's the intergenerational pieces that are playing out now. Right? He's trying to talk about emotions. Kiki, from when she was young, was told, don't talk about emotions. He's trying to get closer to her on a more intimate level, emotionally intimate level, and that's pushing her away.
Yep.
because those were messages she was taught as she was young. And so it is the past affecting the present. Not a big deal. We can deal with that.
Right.
But as soon as the important part is there are ways to manage it through, various therapeutic techniques, but there's also the idea of just coming to understand how I came to be this way is a great way to start saying, is this what I want to perpetuate?
Yes. And something that I think is so important for people to also understand with the avoidant is that, and you pointed it out in your story very well, how much anxiety is definitely there, but it's so much under the surface. They don't show it, but there is so much turmoil happening within, because there's that anxiety going on for her, all these different thoughts that we would classify, therapeutically anxiety, but it's not an anxious attachment.
Right. Well, and that's why Mikey could probably say, sit still in that story and not worry. Not just that he was trusting, but externally, there was nothing huge that showed she was dying internally.
Right.
Right? She's not screaming. She's not crying. She's not, name calling. She just stood up and said, I need some air. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, he could pick up, well, something's definitely different. So he checked in, right? But at the same time, there was, it wouldn't be like an anxious where their emotions are all congruent. The body language is congruent with the emotion.
Right. Now, next week, what we're going to do is we're going to we'll flip the script and we'll go more in depth with the anxious attachment and what kind of leads to those sorts of things being developed, right? But
you wrote that story. I can't wait to hear that one.
Yep. Again, down the rabbit hole with Kiki and Mikey, right?
The adventures of Kiki and Mikey will never end.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to us. We hope that if there's anything you find interesting, any thoughts, comments, or anything like that, leave it down below. Feel free to share this. You can check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We're there as well. We got the your shorts, a few times a week. Little thoughts that I think are fun.
I threw out an extra one this week because I screwed up last week.
Gotta make it up.
Well, it was made. I was like, you know me, I'm a perfectionist.
Well, it's better.
I made a goal. I made 2. I got to publish 2 that I made this week.
Well, at least it's not as frustrating as recording and forgetting to.
Oh no, I did
on.
that.
Oh.
I think I've done that mistake twice now. I don't learn very quickly sometimes.
Well, and that's why we always double check before these, right?
I know. I should use the same program. It's just harder.
Yeah. But we thank you guys, and we'll see you next time on another episode of The Lighter Side of Heavy Things.